done there and just being like, oh my goodness.
I mean, we shot it over the course of the normal 8 days, but they prepped it for a lot longer. Maybe not necessarily the stage that was in Stars Hollow, but yeah, we prepped it. Brenda was working on it for a good few weeks, way before they even started, because they had so much prep that they had to do.
Right. Wow.
And I could jump in with stories of just my part of it, or I can wait till the end of the show, but there was a lot of craziness that week, and there was, before the episode prep, like, well, I mean, I'll tell the story all at once at the end of all the ordeal I went through. It was funny and painful, and funny now than then, but to become the statue. So I can tell that at any time.
Yeah, I mean, anything that you think you could squeeze in quickly during the episode would be awesome. And then, of course, we're going to have 45 minutes afterwards, and I would love to hear all the stories. I mean, I'll have so many questions because I'm a geek for this particular, for all of the production stuff in this. This is kind of like my, like the geeky, that's just the geeky side of me is going to come out. I can't wait. We have a couple minutes. Let me just really quickly throw a clue for the cat scratch memento. Really quickly. I've been pretty consistently doing passwords that are all lowercase. You should not expect that all passwords are going to be all lowercase. In some situations where the password should be uppercase, like, for example, a proper name would be one example. It might be it might begin with an uppercase.
Ooh, like a giant trivia game going on to guess what
sort of. Yeah.
Sorry, say it one more time, John.
Oh, I mean, it's not like a formally written clue. It's just that it's just that I've been giving you passwords that have all my passwords and passphrases have been all lowercase. But you shouldn't expect that all passwords and passphrases are always all lowercase. In some situations, it might be more appropriate to use an uppercase.
So you're saying there's a name in the password for Saturday?
Maybe. I mean, there are a lot of reasons why you might have a capital letter. Perhaps it's a
proper noun.
Proper noun. Perhaps it's the first word of a sentence. Could be a variety of reasons why.
Valerie, he's doing a little thing with us where he has these 10 T-shirts he's going to give out if you can claim one of these little tokens on the Remarkist app that he's setting up for Saturday morning. So he's been giving us clues for the last few days so we can try and guess the password in advance. And they're really like tricky and vague.
Got it. It could also be something that's like has big letters, capital letters, not because it's a name, but because it's like something like okay. You know, like where it's hyphenated.
Yeah, sure.
You know, like there's so many different ways.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying necessarily the password has a proper noun in it, or that it's the first word of a sentence, or contains first word of a sentence. As you know, some of the last clues have told you that it is a passphrase, which means it's multiple words. In fact, it is 4 words. But yeah, could be that as well. Like it could need a capital for that reason. And that goes for, I'd say, that's a rule that could go for any password or passphrase, really.
Mike and Valerie, does the first mean anything to you in the world of Gilmore?
Does what?
The first mean anything to you in the world of Gilmore Girls? It was one of his clues. It's so tricky. Sorry, John. It's 9 o'clock. I shouldn't take up.
Well, I mean, as you know, the clue before the first was to tell you all that you'd be wasting your time if you thought that the 4-word passphrase was Amy's last 4 words. So I then, of course, said that the next one is that it's the first. But I mean, you can take that to mean a variety of things. And I will say, folks who really want to sort of be ahead of the race are probably going to not want to just have one option available to them. Because what we're doing here is more than anything just preparing people, because if you don't have any clue of the possibilities of what it can be, you'll be racing like everybody else. Because once I say, how to get it, everyone will be, on the same, they'll be all racing on starting at the same time.
Is tonight the 4-word pass?
Tonight's is a one word. I'll give you that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Why, did you get it?
Not yet, but I'm gonna.
Okay. I'm gonna dive in. We're 3 minutes over, which isn't horrible. And I'll dive into my spiel. I'm sure we have some new folks here tonight, which is fantastic. It is a very big room. I'm guessing it is partly for our awesome guests as well as for the awesome episode, but maybe for the memento as well. For those of you, by the way, who've been hearing about this memento thing and figuring this out and this quiz and don't know what we're talking about, we have an app. Remarcus has its own app separate from Clubhouse. You can get it at remarcus.com. You just go to remarcus.com on your mobile phone. You have to go either on Chrome if you're on Android, or mobile Safari if you're on an iPhone. You'll get the instructions on how to add that app to your own phone. And then you're going to want to sign up for an account in the app. If you do, you can participate in a variety of fun game stuff that is sort of running in tandem with these watches. That's going to include everything from a little as you heard, it involves collecting these essentially like little event pins. We don't drop them all the time, but we drop them every once in a while. They are in limited supply. They sometimes unlock things like Easter eggs, and some of them will perhaps in the future act as vouchers for special events, exclusive events that only those who have the pins can get into. In the case of this one that's coming up on Saturday that we've mentioned, that one is redeemable for a t-shirt. There will only be 10 of those. We're about to release an in-game currency that is going to have all kinds of fun utility within the platform, including an auction that I'm going to have later in the summer, where I'm going to auction off a bunch of ridiculous Gilmore Girls tchotchke that I have from my time on the show. We're just goofing around and having fun, and we would love anyone to join us. There is a memento for tonight's episode. If you go into the app and you go into this, well, there's only one show right now. It's Gilmore Girls. If you go into that show, you'll see the event calendar. You'll see tonight's event, which is the Festival of Living Art. It's already started. If you go in there and you scroll to the bottom, you'll see that there is a memento there, and it's asking for a password. I'm going to give that password to everyone at around 8:30 tonight, which is when this event officially ends. However, some people try to guess the password, and some have been successful in the past at figuring it out, because, I probably use some Gilmore Girls isms or, some stuff from the show in my passwords. So smart or, folks who have seen the show once or twice can probably figure some of these out. So anyway, thank you all for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. Again, this is Remarcus. We're a community of folks who like to watch our favorite television shows together virtually, but as if we are in the same room, gathered around the same television, passing pizza boxes and boxes of takeout amongst one another. The first show that we're watching is, as I said, Gilmore Girls, a show that I was an actor on. Valerie was a costumer on. Mike was also an actor on. I don't know about them, but I never watched it. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm watching it, the entire series, with fans. Valerie, we talked about it last time. You said you've seen some episodes here and there, but I mean, you were basically there all the time. So you saw the episodes from the inside out.
Yeah, I read everything except for the first 10 episodes. So I really have no clue what happened on those ones. And then I lived the rest of them and occasionally would watch an episode here or there, but not fully.
Mike, what about you?
I saw all the episodes I was in, and you jumped Jack, I jumped Jack also. Is that an
No, yeah, that one's one that we were in. That's the one where we get to the big fight on stage.
Yeah, those are the only ones I've seen. So I sort of lurked when you've been doing this, and then sort of caught up once in a while. But I've missed a lot of them. And like Valerie would tell me, oh, you know, Rory was in the episode in the bookstore, and you weren't in the bookstore. And I was like, oh, that's probably about right. So
cool. Well then you guys are sort of experiencing it to a degree, kind of like me. We're all kind of at least coming somewhat fresh to it. Those who arrive early to these Remarcus watches can try and grab a seat on what we call the couch here. That's this area up top with about 15 of us, well, exactly 15 of us that have little microphones next to our avatars. And that means that we can chat during the episode as if we were creating a sort of social DVD style commentary track. There are no rules to how much or how little we chat. We can chat whenever we feel the urge, same as if we were casually just watching together in person. Sometimes it's dead silent for like minutes at a time, and sometimes it's super, super chatty. If it gets a little too chatty for you, just turn the volume on your phone down until you sort of hear the chatter, kind of subside, and then turn it back up again. I will say, though, that we do hit our sweet spot when we keep our remarks to what is happening in the episode. We try our best to squeeze those remarks into the air between dialogue so we can still follow what's going on in the show. And when we do have longer thoughts or we want to have a conversation, we save that for after the show, because we're going to stick around for about 45 minutes afterwards to chat about what we saw. We always avoid talking about future episodes or any future plot points, because we don't want to spoil anybody who hasn't seen it, like myself or Mike. We keep the volume on our TVs low so that when we do speak, others can't hear our episode in the background. And when we aren't speaking, we keep our mic muted to reduce background noise. Now, all of these sessions are being recorded, or I should say most of them. Sometimes we forget to hit record, and they will be archived. They aren't yet, just because my development hasn't gotten there yet on the app, but they will be archived in the Remarcus app. For now, they're on a YouTube channel. You can ask pretty much any community member and they'll point you in that direction. If you don't feel comfortable being recorded or having your recorded remarks available to the public, then just don't come up onto the couch or don't speak. We sometimes do have snags, not to be confused with snacks, although I do often have snacks here. But if you lose your internet or you get knocked out of the room, just come back in. You'll be on the couch as you were before. If your episode cuts off and you need to figure out where we are, there's an easy way to do that. You can get that Remarcus app that I mentioned before at remarcus.com. Sign up for an account. You're going to need an account for this. And then when you go into the event calendar, as I described before, and into the page for this particular event, the same place where you would find the memento, you can also see a time code. That's the time code where we are in the episode. If you don't want the app, you don't want to play any of these, sort of games that we have going on, you can also find the time code at my Instagram account. I have an Instagram live feed playing, and you can find that by just tapping on my avatar, opening up my full profile here in Clubhouse, where you'll see a link to my Instagram account. It'll take you right there. We always skip ahead past the previously on, so that we start at the beginning of the actual episode. That doesn't apply to Netflix. That sometimes applies to the DVDs. I don't know if that's the case tonight.
There is none tonight.
There is none tonight. Great. I'm seeing Lorelai sitting at the table doing what looks like cutting out coupons. I don't know if that's what you're seeing, but it should be something similar. I'm going to hit record on my recorder. We are now officially recording. And I'm going to go into the Remarcus app and into this episode so I can start that time code. Does anybody have any questions? Great. Then we're going to do what we always do. If you're new, get your remote ready. Put that thumb on the play button. We're about to press it collectively at the same time on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. That's the band.
Totally looks like Lauren's shirt's inside out, doesn't it?
Is it? Is it?
I don't think so. It just might be the style.
I have a shirt. And I think that was a style back then.
I wonder if Dave Rogalski and some of the folks that always did our guitar stuff, if they're the ones playing all of this like weird guitar music in the background. I'm guessing that they are.
Probably. In order for that water to work, there'd be a special effects guy that did it.
And she would have got paid more, right, John?
She would have gotten paid more, yeah. That's technically getting wet. That's a SAG thing. I mean,
That is wild. She got paid more to stick her head under a faucet.
yeah, I mean, I think so. I know that getting wet is a penalty, or it comes with an extra fee for actors, but I don't know if that applies to just wetting your hair. I mean, maybe it requires you to be fully pushed into a pool or into a lake. Milo definitely got paid.
I don't think I've seen this one before. The intro looked new to me, so it's pretty cool.
I always loved how they would add stuff from every episode.
It's Ron
Nick
Swanson.
Offerman.
Oh, God, he was in this one.
Nick Offerman.
He was fun on set.
He's a Chicago guy. Shared card.
Fake belly. At least I think it was.
It was fake.
Love Jane Espenson.
I love Sookie's apron.
What is it with everyone in Jackson's family being super annoying?
I was just about to say the same thing.
I was thinking that too with Brune.
It makes you appreciate Jackson more for being like the odd one out.
For being semi-normal.
Jackson's not wearing a hat.
So they've gone with Colgate, even though Suki said she was going to fight him on it.
He doesn't know it's gonna be a boy, so she's letting him think that it could still be Colgate.
Need some extra buckets. I'm kind of curious what that's for too.
And I've had babies. Oh my God.
After this is done, we should talk about how this show is very like weird about midwives.
Agreed.
I agree. And breastfeeding and kind of that whole stuff.
I like how proud Kirk is for having a girlfriend.
Yeah, it's so endearing.
I definitely had a subscription to Spin magazine.
I did too. I love Spin. I still have some.
I saw Spins too.
Your enthusiasm.
I always love that photo of Liz sitting in the refrigerator behind Taylor.
He's gotten very confident in one episode.
I'll have to go back and pause on those photos. There's so many in the background, but they flash away typically.
They're all real photos from Liz's life.
That's so cool. Love that.
I love that the Andrew character is he's like townsfolk, but he's the most normal townsfolk, almost in such a way that he almost seems odd in that regard.
It might be that I was just never really knew what I was doing, but I'll take.
No, I mean,
Aww.
even the way that your character, the way that it's written, he's written just to be a very normal guy.
Yeah, the bookstore owner, I figured was just the most normal guy in town with all the craziness, but I didn't overthink it. I think.
I just think that that's funny.
But I don't think he's like the normal guy, and especially this episode shows that no one in Stars Follow is like a normal type of person.
Well, you piqued my interest.
I asked my friend, why are there so many weird gay jokes for Lorelai with Rory? And she said it was to combat the heterosexual energy that Kirk is bringing tonight.
That must be it.
Lovely Taylor.
Rory looks so good with her short hair. I love it.
I do too.
Not
LOL.
the brightest in town.
Well, he's about to be when he's painted all white.
Yeah.
I think this episode shows Kirk at its best.
I agree. This is one of my favorite Kirk episodes.
Absolutely.
We were debating how many types of cults Kirk could start.
Oh, that's
Hey, it's
Jason.
it's Sasha's husband.
That's so cool. Jason was one of the stand-ins. That was sort of, he was a regular stand-in. I don't remember who he mostly stood in for, but he was just there all the time. And just an example of giving some of those folks a role.
And also he was married to Sasha, our set costumer, my set partner.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mary, I sent you a DM.
Are you trading passwords?
I just like talking to Mary.
I want it to send it to me.
They're being claimed, John.
Wow, that did not take long.
Please, please, please.
Man, I go back and forth on whether or not he's enjoyable to hate or just insufferable.
I really like Taylor. I don't know why. He's cute.
Is Dream Fresh a real product?
I guess no.
The straight hair is back, by the way.
I agree.
Last episode was the big hair.
She has such an accent in this episode. It's like they told her to be Audrey Hepburn in that scene.
Wait a second, here he is.
You're gonna plot.
Talking about big hair.
John, check out Regina's avatar. When you
I
have
love how his voice changes when he's like, I'm Gil.
Yeah.
I'm
If
Gil.
that's the best.
My favorite Gil story takes place in this episode. I'll tell you at the end.
Brian, Brian just looks stunned.
Oh my God.
I mean, his hair is beautiful. A little crispy on the ends.
You should have gotten him to sit.
Did you want to put your fingers through it like Lane does
I want to say I have.
with her?
this?
Be careful, John. We'll get him to confirm that one day.
We shot this tent outside in the real Stars Hollow.
Where was it set up?
On the side of the school in front of your house, you know, the house that you guys were living in, between that and the school.
Oh, cool.
So awesome.
He's so in character.
This is great. Sebastian Bach does not play the guitar.
He acts like he does really well.
I was going to say, he's pretty convincing.
Wait, did he have to go to?
Even the way he's like holding his mouth open as he's playing, like he's concentrating.
Hey, look at that. Look at that bass. Come on, people. That was some bass playing. Actual bass playing.
Did you actually play that?
John, you still look stunned by the age.
It was pretty surreal. I gotta say, it was pretty surreal when that guy showed up on set.
So that was your real face, not your acting face?
No, we had met him.
I remember when they were talking about who they were going to get a couple episodes before.
Approaching 40.
Before a man walks on the moon.
He was our age when we were born.
You guys sound like TikTokers.
I love Gil.
My daughter told me we're all old, like Gil is in this, and she's the young one because she's 17.
How my dad talks about getting paid.
My dad always did too.
Shelly, I just noticed your avatar is all arty.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like me. It's kind of creepy.
Still sounds like you.
Oh, Rusty. That's Rusty Schwimmer. She's a good friend of ours.
She's good in this.
Yeah, she's an amazing actress.
Suki looks so great. You have to be in that position your entire pregnancy anyways, most of it.
Right.
I needed someone like that around me when I was pregnant. How are you serving the baby?
This episode is already my favorite episode so far.
It's so good.
It always stands out to me that Bo said that it's a hick town and then calls Jackson a big city phony. Doesn't add up.
I noticed that too. Right after this.
I think I'm going to take that back. Andrew,
that's where the
kind
tension
of
is.
weird.
And Andrew's just rude for no reason.
That's how you're normal. Most people are, aren't they?
Sean is so good in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is just quintessential Kirk.
With his hair flowing.
It's actually pretty windy. That wasn't a fake fan because you can see the awning moving too.
It worked out real well.
I love that he has a second outfit as well, because we saw him getting fitted for his costume earlier, which was not that robe.
That's just getting into character mode or robe.
Exactly.
Oh, Luke. These guys, my goodness.
It's so frustrating being pregnant in like the heat of the summer too. So no matter what, you're gonna be snarky back at them.
Speaking of costumes,
Somebody on Instagram Live wants to know if Andrew was wearing a Carhartt jacket. Mike, do you remember?
I was not.
I'll have to look at photos, but I think Andrew probably wore his own personal jacket.
That jacket wasn't mine, but somehow the shirt and the pants and the shoes, of course, were all mine. So, but no, that jacket I've never seen before.
Okay. Also,
I mean, come on. This is just silly with the guitar. This is just silly.
It's so fun.
And the faces. That's the real Dave Rogowski play.
Oh, for sure.
I love Babette describing Gil.
I love that flip phone too. That's totally rock and roll.
Lane's so sweet.
Man, the ageism really makes me uncomfortable. Just kidding.
It's kind of dumb, but whatever.
It actually makes sense that Lane is the most comfortable because she's been around adults her entire life, like between her parents and her older cousins and stuff like that. So
It would feel creepy as a teenager to have like an adult like that you've never met before wanting to be in your teenager band.
Yeah, I think teens are always weird about older people, even when they're not old, so to speak.
Ralph and Brian aren't teenagers, are they? Aren't they in their early 20s?
Yeah, I think we're early 20s. I mean, I never got the sense that Brian was in his teens.
But a 40-year-old seems pretty old when you're 20.
Right.
Like ancient.
Thank you.
Oh. She said bastard.
Hey, wait a minute.
Andrew called her no listen.
Why'd you do that, Andrew?
I didn't realize that my saying was going to come back later in the episode. I'm rude.
People say rude things to pregnant women. It happened to me multiple times.
And new mom.
Yes.
I love that butterfly sweater she's wearing. It's very cool.
Man, if we get Suki's kids delivered this episode, I mean, this is the biggest episode so far.
Absolutely love the walk. Melissa's really good in this particular episode, isn't she? Look at that.
Was she
Laura,
really,
like, oh. You go, Rachel.
was she really pregnant in real life?
I don't think she was pregnant this time around, and if she was, she wasn't that pregnant.
I was gonna say that Lorelai's hair, even though it's not a big hair, it looks cool right now in this scene because it's very natural.
She wasn't pregnant.
Let me see.
I think we said that one other time. She doesn't get pregnant till like, oh, never mind. Like in her real life, she's not pregnant till later on, later years.
Adrian, I agree with you. I like this. I like the hair right here now because it does feel a little more natural. Although I feel like the most natural for Lorelai is when it's just straight up curly.
Yeah. John, you might want to go claim yours. They're like half gone already.
Are you serious?
I am serious.
Oh, great. I'm not even going to get one. No, I said to myself, I'm not going to do it until I give the password away. It's not fair.
You're talking about for tonight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 41 of 80 is gone.
Man, you guys are good. I'm convinced people already there are some folks who already at least have a theory on a possibility for what the cat scratch one is already.
I know someone with a theory, but it's not me. But I'm going to believe them.
I have a theory on
That
that.
stage is huge.
This is amazing.
I wish that they'd do this everywhere.
Now just look at the gowns and things that they're wearing now versus what ends up on stage.
Drastically different.
Oh, interesting. Kirk's no longer in blue.
Valerie, were all of these outfits were they in Warner storage or?
Oh no, Brenda built them, had them.
They were all built.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I mean, there might have been some stuff that wasn't featured as much that was rented, but the hero main pieces were built.
Oh my goodness.
I have to complain about the ferret talk. There are cute ferrets. Ferrets are adorable and they're not mean. How do we bother?
Well, at the time that we shot this, the reference to ferrets had something to do with that actor. I forget, Richard Gere. That was the reference for ferrets.
Really?
No.
There weren't cute ferrets all over the internet.
Hey, Mike, can you mute yourself? I'm sorry, I could hear your background. Thank you.
I got it.
The hair is pretty cool looking too. All that detail, even in their hair.
They look so cool. Kirk's just moved. Just because we're talking clothing this episode a lot, I was wondering what happened to Fran's sweater with the squirrel on it. That is my absolute favorite piece of clothing in this series.
It probably was a rental, but I'm not sure.
Refresh me on Woodbury. We've had a Woodbury episode before, right? Where there was like the competition between Woodbury. What was it?
Oh, yeah.
It was a while ago, so it must be from like season 1.
I just saw this girl sitting in the front row of the audience who also is in the Renaissance Fair wedding.
Is it the creepy girl?
The blonde girl. In real life, she's a stand-in friend of mine.
Love Patty in this episode too. Yeah.
You won't believe this, but Liz Torres is calling me right at this exact moment.
Very
That's too
Give
funny.
her the
Say
time
hi.
code. Give her the time code of the episode and tell her to watch along with
Yes.
us.
Tell her we say hi. We say hello.
Oh my goodness.
Or Rory.
Is that Rory? Is that Rory?
Yeah.
that's
Cool.
incredible.
Gorgeous.
But was that really Rory, or was that a picture of her that they used for that one shot?
Really her.
Well,
Rory.
you can see from the side, at least, that was
She
her.
moved a little.
I love all their hair wigs. That like are plasticky. They look like the little Lego hats, like hat hair things.
Yes, I couldn't place it now. They do look so familiar. Taylor looks nice in his tux.
Right, Liz couldn't say hi because something happens weird with the app, but she said hi to everyone.
I may consider that she knows I
And
exist
this
now.
is
Thank you.
this a picture? Is this a picture?
Yes.
Yes.
I know I'm saying, is that
This is live. This is live.
are those really them?
Yeah.
Yes, that's them. And I styled every single one of those people. I put them all in their
I know
places.
the close-ups, but this far, this.
Yes, that's real. That's real. Them standing there. That's not a photograph. That's them.
Yeah, so this is amazing because
So that image is like engraved in your brain, Valerie. You had to reference it so much.
I had a photo and I would go up to them and set the shot. And there's a photo of me I have on my wherever somewhere of me wearing a striped coat, and it was that night. But I had a photo and they didn't say rolling until I got everybody in the right positions. And props also had a photo and they would look at the props, but I was looking at the clothing and how it all laid in hand positions.
This whole thing
I'm going to tell you a story about this moment with Gil when we're done with the episode.
At the time when he was shooting this, I think he was still living in New Jersey, and I can kind of hear a little bit of the Jersey in him. Like a little bit of a Jersey accent.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't sound Canadian.
I remember he worked so hard on this monologue. He was really like, it was cool.
He was amazing. I gotta say, he won everyone's hearts in this monologue.
Lane's heart also.
I love that.
I love that part.
Valerie, this is absolutely fantastic work you guys did. It looks so good.
I mean, it
I love
blows
that
my
Rory
mind.
still has the animal over her shoulder, even though she's done.
Yeah, it's mind blowing.
She's committed.
We haven't seen Rory yet, have we?
She was first with
Yes.
she was the
Yeah,
I
she was the
missed
first one.
it. That was talking
Oh
to
my
Liz,
goodness, we
sorry.
got Nicole in this episode too. Oh my goodness, this is crazy.
Was she always blonde?
Wasn't she redhead?
Redhead.
I like the blonde. I love that Luke fixed the table, even though he said he wasn't going to have anything to do with it. I know, typical Luke.
Classic. That is so funny about Picasso's Guernica. It leaves you with the imagination.
Or former
How was
outside
the
brand.
makeup?
His details.
Freedom fries, everybody.
I was gonna say this is
Oh my
around the
God.
time of Freedom Fries, wasn't it?
I'd almost forgotten.
It's your big moment, Mike.
For sure.
Amazing.
Oh my!
So cool.
Oh my goodness!
Last shot of
Wow. Now you truly
That's
are the
cool.
brightest in the town.
How long were you in that for?
Hours. I think it was, well, I'll tell the story afterwards so you don't miss this, but it took like 2 hours to get made up, and I didn't shoot for 2 more hours after that being made up.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it was more than 2 hours after, because you were like the last shot of the night.
Yeah.
You guys noticed that Lorelai is wearing jeans when in the last episode she said that she couldn't wait to wear the pretty dress.
Yeah. I hadn't. Yes.
Part of the reason
I
for
missed-
that was because Lauren probably didn't want to wear the dress.
It's not even a pretty dress. It's just like a little peasant shirt or something.
Yeah, it looks super uncomfortable and heavy.
Once a flincher, always a flincher.
I was so into watching the show right now. My husband brought me my dinner, which was a chicken Caesar salad, and my dog grabbed the chicken off of it and took off because I was watching the show.
I think she's gonna flinch.
I'm worried, but I have a feeling that she's not going to flinch. I have a feeling that this is going to be a victory for her.
So I think that Lorelai was referring to the dress of the actual picture, because she's
Taylor did ask if the dress still fits her though.
Oh no! Oh no!
Do you know what that sound is?
Yeah, that's the baby pager, but that's the entertainer. The music is the entertainer.
Of course, that would go off now.
Gosh, this is so awesome.
Woohoo, she did it.
Oh yeah!
Taylor looks so relieved.
So you sort of got your wish, Sean. You don't actually get to see the baby, but the pager went off.
Oh well, so I guess you mean that next episode the baby will already be born. All right, hold on. Before we get into discussion, let me open up the couch. But first, let me just say, favorite episode. That's my favorite episode. Like I don't even have to think twice. I don't know how that's not everybody's favorite. Not everybody's favorite episode. I mean, that episode is incredible. All right, hold on. Let me open up the couch. All right.
I love
couch is now
Kirk
open.
in that episode.
Wow, we have a lot of people coming up here. This is
Hi
huge.
everyone. Hi Valerie and Mike.
I gotta say, this wasn't my favorite, because trust me, that is coming. But it's a
Motherfucking Andrew. What is up,
Okay.
Andrew?
Well done. His name is Mike.
Mike,
Yeah,
you did awesome.
But can I
Standing there
just
because
say, I would just like to say, for one thing about Andrew, I would like to thank you because you're the reason why I know how long an elephant gestation period is.
Fun fact.
resembled that remark.
Okay, can I
So
share a
Mike, you should
couple
start us out with
stories?
your story about how long you were in that costume.
Okay, and
Yeah.
I want to say this
Okay.
is the only episode the show ever won an Emmy for, and the costume and makeup, or the makeup, won the Emmy. So it's the only episode that won an Emmy for the entire. I should start over. The show only won one Emmy its whole run, and it was for this episode, for the makeup. So now that sentence has been said clearly. They told me that I'd have to. I told the story before, so if you've been to a fan fest or if you've been to the thing they did on Zoom this year, I apologize. But they said you have to, you're going to be a statue from the waist up, and so you have to get rid of your body hair, which I'd never done before. I didn't know what to do. They said there's a lot of ways you can do it, and so I had no idea what to do. So I just went to the store and bought a bottle of Nair or Neat, one of those two. I had no idea.
Good. Oh, good Lord. Oh, good Lord.
Bad idea. The story gets worse. So on the bottom, it tells you try it on one part of your body. So I put it on my arm and it said let it sit for 5 or 10 minutes, whatever it is, and take a washcloth and wipe it off and see how it works. And that works perfectly. So I have a big swatch on my arm that it has no hair on it. And I'm like, oh, this will be easy. So I slather my arms with Neat or Nair, whichever. I'll just say Neat from now on, but don't quote me on that. And I use washcloth to wipe it off, and then I have to do my chest, and so I'm like, oh, and then it's terrible. And also at the time, my girlfriend, now my wife, is like, this place stinks like crazy because it does not smell good. So
Oh my God.
That stuff like brings tears to your eyes.
yeah, and I couldn't.
It's horrible.
It's like it's basically like acid, right?
Yes, terrible. And my skin had started to it made my skin bleed. Like I had a bunch of bloody spots all over my arms and chest, everywhere. So, and they told me
You should be getting like danger pay for it.
Well, I didn't ask for it, but yeah. So this was before the episode even started because I had to do a makeup test with that white makeup, and so I went in and I said, well, I can't really do a makeup test anywhere because there's no spot above my waist that doesn't have bloody splotches on it. So they just sort of tried a little, a square on my back, and they said, this is what we'll do. And okay. So I have like 3 or 4 more days to heal. And the scene we did outdoors, my scene, I don't know what happened for the rest of the episode, but my scene, my call time was technically Saturday morning. So Friday night, but really Saturday morning at 12:30 a.m. And they put me in makeup for like probably more than 2 hours. Valerie would know the story better. It just seemed like all night. But it was really cold in Burbank that night, and I couldn't put on a jacket with all the makeup because it would take the makeup off, and I couldn't be by a heater.
Yeah.
Makeup melt, so I was just sort of froze.
I put a little fleece blanket kind of, actually, I think it was your jacket. I threw it over your shoulders just gently, but yeah.
But wait a second, what about those little space heaters that we always had? They always had those little space heaters, or those like little standing heaters that they would like
couldn't
prop
put
up
it
next.
there because it would
melt
get
the
the makeup too hot. And then it would melt.
The makeup would have run because I'm wearing white makeup, and also I don't know if you can tell, you don't have to go back and watch it, but he marbled it with white and black makeup all through, so it looks sort of marbly and cracked like that. And so I think I finally shot my scene at 5:30 or 6 in the morning, and I think the only thing I had to heat people or keep me warm was the craft service had chili, and that was about it. And I went, well, I'm not going to eat chili all night to be warm. I guess I'll just complain and remember that there's a fun episode that years later I have a story to tell about it. And I always tell this right before he introduces me, possibly the greatest, the best joke in the history of not just this show, any show. Because he said that was Guernica. He says Guernica. Doesn't matter. There's if you ever look at that painting by Picasso, that would be the most amazing painting ever done with live people in it. If you want
because it's so abstract.
Right. There's a horse screaming. There's people, screaming because they're being killed. It's about the war, 1938. it's the most amazing painting, and if you ever see it, it's in Spain. That is, you couldn't do it as a festival of living art. So that joke I always tout is the greatest joke in the history of really any TV show.
Yeah, I agree.
This is like Buddy Epson and the Tin Man all over again.
Yeah.
I love that because I didn't get it until you just said that. Yeah, I mean, would be impossible to do.
Yeah.
Work.
Well, with the Tin Man and Wizard of Oz, I'm like a huge nerd about Wizard of Oz. I know almost everything about that movie, and it was kind of the same thing. However, they used aluminum powder in the 30s because, I mean, you took risks everywhere in the 30s, especially with that movie. And the person who was supposed to be Tin Man inhaled the aluminum powder, which meant it got into his lungs and caused a lung infection. And so they brought Jack Haley, and instead of aluminum powder, they changed it to aluminum paste.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant, like Buddy Epson. It's kind of like a modern day version of what happened to Buddy Epson, which he was supposed to be the original.
So,
except the difference is that it was done to Buddy, whereas here Mike did it to himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mike nared himself.
Yeah, that was
Mike, but you know that you brought it on because you took Amy to a hot yoga class.
That's your story, and I've always believed it. And I did take Amy once because I used to do yoga a lot, and I went to Bikram class, which now I'd never go to Bikram. He's a persona non grata, but God bless him. And I took Amy to a class, and she said after class, the entire time of class, she thought the whole time, I'm going to kill Mike Gandolfi. So.
And I like
Don't forget, you have a friend that will not let you ever forget it. Do you have the button?
I do. I have it.
Good.
Did Sherry give you a button?
Sherry made him I made him a bunch of buttons that have him in it. And one of them
Mike, you're lucky.
as the Reaper.
Let me share with you a couple costume moments on the show that you guys might not have noticed. So when Rory is on as her, when she's in the portrait, there's two angles. And if you queue up 3404, the time code at 3404, you'll see two angles. One is front on and one is side. You'll see the side of her in the angle with Miss Patty. Those were shot in two different locations, but second, she was wearing two different outfits for both those shots. So she had two outfits. She had one that was made of muslin and it was painted to look like the dress, so it would look flat. And the other one was the dress that you saw her walking around town in.
The golden.
Yeah, the dress, it's the same dress, but it's
brilliant.
Not the same dress. So it's two different dresses to look the same,
but
to achieve a different look. Now, remember I had said when we were watching the behind the scenes and they're getting made up and you have all the Jesus and all the disciples and the whole thing, they also had two different outfits. They had one to walk around town in, and then they had one that had the painting only where the painting needed to be. So they didn't, and this is how they do it in real life at, this is based on Pageant of the Masters, which is a huge event that happens down in Laguna every year. And this is how they do it, sort of. Like Brenda went, and I think she tells a really great story about how she went down there and analyzed it. They don't give out their secrets, but she went and kind of watched it many, many times from different places in the audience. And she was able to discern how they did it. And then afterwards, Brenda tells a tale of how Pageant of the Masters, people came to her and said, if you ever want to come work down here, we've got a job opening for you, because they were impressed with her work. But then let's see, other things I wanted to share with you. So when they did the Last Supper, I literally had a photograph in my hand that I was looking at the actual painting, the real life painting. And I would have to go up as they set the actor. It took them a long time to set that up for camera. And as we were positioning their arms to make sure that they had to match exactly, we would position the different articles that were on the table, but they wouldn't start shooting until we gave it the okay that everything looked exactly how it was supposed to be. Because if they had moved, you would see the back of their outfit, which was not painted. So they had to look exactly, otherwise it wouldn't look right. And let's see what other things I wanted to share with you. Liz called in the middle of this, because I had called her the other day and she called me back. She says hello to everyone. She couldn't hear you. And it was very odd. If someone calls when you're on Clubhouse, you can hear the conversations happening in the room. And I thought for sure she'd be able to hear you, but she couldn't. But she said, hi, everybody. So sorry you guys couldn't hear her either. Okay. The other thing was with Michael, who was our DP. He occasionally, every time we would shoot, we were known for doing 20, 30, 40 takes. We did so many takes normally. And Sebastian comes in, he's got his lines down. Like he has it perfect. We did take one, and I think Amy was directing. Am I correct in that? Amy was directing. And so he does his first take. It was beautiful. It was perfect. Amy was happy. She calls print. We do the second take. She goes, print. Michael gets up out of his chair and starts to go move a light because he didn't like the way the light was pointing. And Amy's like, wait, no, I'm moving on. We're not doing any more takes. And normally he would have been able to move that light. It wouldn't have been a problem because we would have done 200 takes. So that was my Gil story. And I'm trying to think if there's any other things, but you guys go ahead and talk.
Oh, so I've always
Thanks,
wondered.
Valerie.
Yeah, thank you. But now that you mentioned the DP, which I didn't do the proper research. I didn't know the name of Michael, but I assume he's the one responsible for all the lamps that I love seeing in the show. Lamps here and there. Cool.
Oh yeah, Valerie, maybe you can answer this. My other half asked me the other day when we were watching one of the episodes, why are there so many lamps in Gilmore Girls? Is that just to give the effect that the kind of the lighting that you guys set gives?
Why are there so many lamps? You know, because, okay, first of all, probably the homes back then probably didn't have ceiling lights. You know, that's one thing. Two, you probably want more mood lighting, be able to shut a light off, turn a light on. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I'm necessarily the right person to answer that question. It would probably be the set decorator, and in reality, it would be the set decorator that established the show back when they did the pilot, which probably wasn't the same person that did it when we were shooting the real show. So yeah, I would think so. But I do have a story about lamps. So one day we were shooting outside Mrs. Kim's. This isn't going to break anything or be a spoiler. We're shooting outside Mrs. Kim's. We're looking into Mrs. Kim's. Every single light in the house was on as we're shooting outside. And the storyline, either Lane was sneaking back into her house and everyone was supposed to be asleep, or whatever it was, it didn't make sense. And I was like, why is every single light on in the house? And Amy was like, oh, good point. Yeah, let's shut off all the lights. So then we ended up having to reshoot this thing because it just didn't make sense that every light was on. Like, who leaves every single light on in their house unless they have timers?
Especially Mrs. Kim.
Yeah, especially she's spendthrift. She's not going to leave lights on.
Yeah.
Good boy.
Valerie, I love your stories. Thank you.
You're
Valerie,
welcome.
The queen of the stories. What should we chat about some of the stuff in the episode? some of the
Oh, yeah.
I have
the
a question.
what's up?
I have a question for Valerie.
Go ahead.
So, watching this episode several times in the past few years, I don't know if you even talked about this because I wasn't able to pay attention for a while. But there was this whole thing about when Taylor wasn't going to let Lorelai be in the thing because she flinched, and then she like prodded him enough to convince him to let her, and he was like, "Oh," but he was like, "So do you still fit in the dress?" And then she like didn't even wear like a whole dress.
Oh yeah, tell us that. Okay, I think what happened with that is they wrote a line, and Amy wanted her to be wearing a dress, and Lauren didn't want to wear a dress. So I think, and I could be mistaken, but I do believe that Brenda would probably have a better idea on the story of whether or not. But because the way the painting was going to be, I think Lauren probably looked at the painting and went, there's no reason I need to wear a dress because we're only going to be seeing part of the actual outfit in real life. Like they didn't need to see the whole outfit. And I don't know if that had more to do with production design, like they decided they only needed part of the thing, or they were recreating how they would have done it at Pageant of the Masters. I don't know. If Brenda does pop in, it might be a better question for her to answer. But I think the jeans had more to do with the fact that Lauren didn't want to wear a dress, maybe. But I don't know.
That's cool. It just was some of us in the all things Gilmore group, talk about it sometimes. And so we're like, oh,
I'm sure probably at the time we were like, but it says in the script we have to, and Amy was probably just like, I don't care, and maybe we shot that part before we actually shot the scene where we had her in the thing, but I'm sure at that point in time we knew she probably wasn't going to wear it.
About
I've
that.
got a question. Oh, go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, my question is, I think the reason she's wearing jeans is where would she have had a phone or a pager on a dress? So they made that choice.
Also that.
True.
That's fair.
Very true. And hi, Mike. It's good to kind of meet you.
Hello.
Now, Mike, that makes a lot of sense. And Lauren, Lauren did things based on what made sense, so she was thinking about the bigger picture whenever she asked for something. It just, our job as costumers sometimes is finagling, like what the actor wants, what the producer wants, what the script wants, what this person wants, and trying to make sense of it and get it onto camera and make sure we're not holding up camera. And in the end, it's not brain surgery.
So Valerie, with the introduction of Gil, did you guys style Gil, or did Sebastian Bach come in with just like what he thought his character should be?
Oh, that guy came in hair ready.
Oh, you know what?
Definitely.
Him. They hired him. He wore
not only that, he also was kind of had some of his own makeup. Or he did some of his own makeup, because I would see sometimes he would do his own eyeliner.
I have the best video of Sebastian during the revival, and he's sitting in the makeup trailer because I had to go up to him. And ask him to get clearance on his tattoos. And he was just going through, and he's like, you're never going to find these people. This person's in Bangalore. And he was so funny. And eventually the studio went just okay, I guess it is what it is. Because the studio had gotten in trouble when they did, oh my God, that thing with Mike Tyson, and he had the face tattoo on his face. I forget what it was, but so Warner Brothers was not too happy. They were trying to protect themselves from getting sued with tattoos.
John, I'm curious what you thought of Nicole coming back in the episode tonight.
Ooh.
Good question.
Well, I was actually thinking about that when it happened, because I was trying to imagine how I would really truly feel without a lot of the discussions that we've already had about Nicole, and my general sense that people are not a big fan of hers. If I had just been watching it fresh, whether I would have been like, she's cool, you know, that's nice. I like the idea that they might be getting back together again. I don't know for sure if I would exactly how I would feel about it. I guess what I'm saying is that I guess I feel a little uneasy about it and feel like it could end up turning into something really bad, even worse than it is now. But my gut tells me that I feel that way because of we've had so many conversations about her, not that I might not feel that way if I was really truly 100% fresh.
Quick question.
Yeah.
I wanted to know, will we be able to talk about just the ridiculousness of Kirk being Jesus?
Oh,
I want to talk about Kirk being Jesus.
Great.
We have Cat Kirk, and now we have
I
Jesus
actually,
Kirk.
this is, I mean, to me, this is definitely, without a doubt, his best performance so far in the series. I'm sure that he's got more. I mean, people talk about other episodes. I haven't really heard. I haven't heard people talk about this episode as much for Kirk as some other ones that are yet to come. So I imagine that his performance only gets better and better. But like this performance is like a step, like a huge step up. I mean, mostly just because he has so much to do, so much more to do than he had in previous episodes, and it's just amazing that whole monologue that he has there.
And his fight with the town troubadour.
Poor Grant.
Oh,
I
it's
know.
so good. I mean, the whole thing is so good.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, he has so. I would probably say this is his first real featured episode. Like everything else that he's done so far has been a little bit more like a C storyline, you know. And this is really like the biggest Kirk episode so far. I'm guessing that this episode is so successful in terms of just the reception to his role and how well it turned out and how much they loved it when they saw it, that I would guess that from here on out we'll start getting more like episodes where Kirk is like a main thing in the episode.
Yeah, and I also love the fact that in the beginning of the episode, he was like, this is me and my girlfriend. Yes, I'll walk in with me and my girlfriend. We're gonna take a sip with me and my girlfriend. Me and my girlfriend like to eat, like even though he was funny as Jesus, like that part was really funny and memorable too. It's like Kirk really hit it out of the park with this episode. I swear, I was dying. So funny.
Yeah.
He's so proud that he's a boyfriend.
Uh-huh.
So John, sorry, I was just going to ask if we could actually talk about Hebalion a little bit.
Yeah, I wanted to actually say, so it's funny actually, my buddy Sheev, who we know is who's in the audience, he actually sent me, it looks like an IMDb review for this episode. He just like took a screenshot and he sent it to me, and he sent it right after I made the joke about ageism, and I just have to read you this review. It's funny. It's a 1-star review, just 1 star. Ageism is alive and well in Lily White's Stars Hollow. Ageism rears its ugly head in the form of Zach and Brian's rampage about Gil, the musician seeking to join their broken down band. As it turns out, Gil, played by real-life guitarist Sebastian Bach, untrue, can play them both under the table. Ultimately, Lane came to Gil's rescue, perhaps understanding prejudice herself, and in so doing, helped create a far better sound by allowing him to join. Diversity and tolerance are not exactly Stars Hollow's middle names.
You rampaged, man.
That's hilarious.
Yikes.
And scene.
And scene.
Well, John, you know, when Rory comes in and like is like, whoa, he's old look on her face, and then it shows you and you just have this like weird, uncomfortable look on your face, like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'll be honest, like back then when we shot the scene, I mean, first of all, I was 15 years younger, and yeah, I mean, I was still in my 20s, and I mean, it was a different time. I think I figured that that stuff felt funny to me. Now it feels funny because it seems so ridiculous, right? Like back then I felt like it kind of made sense because it seemed sort of relatable, you know, that like 20-somethings with a band wouldn't want a 40-something in their band. But now watching it, I sort of feel like it's kind of ridiculous because he doesn't seem that much older, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't look that much older than us, you know, a bit older. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but like I feel like now a 20-something wouldn't have that much of a problem with a 40-something in their band if they were incredibly awesome, you know, an awesome guitarist. So I feel like it's kind of a joke that transforms over these years into one that now just seems ridiculous more than relatable, like relatable humor versus
John.
humor.
You know what I noticed when Zach said he has like wrinkles in his eyes, man, and he pointed to his eyes, and I noticed that like Zach has a wrinkle, like one in his eye. And I'm like, dude, that's gonna be you in like 5 years. Because there was like one little indent, and I always noticed that as a kid. I was like, what are you talking about? So I always laughed at the ridiculousness of Zach and Brian being like, Gil is too old. I'm like, Eddie's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, we were playing early 20s, and I want to say Todd was already in his 30s, and I was in my late 20s. Really quick before we move on, it is 8:30. Couple things. One, I think we broke the app again.
God dang it.
God dang it.
Oh no, we broke the internet?
I think we broke the app. Either that or my internet is so slow, but like the app is just behaving really weird on my end. And I've been getting like instant messages from people that are like somebody instant messaged me that they have two mementos, both with the number 31, Valerie. So clearly that's a mistake. I got to go in and fix that. And then other people are saying that more of them were claimed than have been minted. The answer to that is Valerie has two of them with the same number. So I have to go figure out what happened there. And then the app itself is just like completely weird. And I don't know if that's just my internet or if everybody's seeing that, but like my username is not there and like the chat is not working. That said, we're gonna try to claim the additional ones. We're pretty close to it seems, to
It's
having
like 20 or 21 left.
Yeah, there's very few of them left. Let me just see how many
Only
are left.
a quarter left.
Yeah, there's only 20 of them. Yeah, wow, but now it says 60 are claimed. Oh man.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so whatever.
Can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah.
Did Todd come on already, or is he going to come on?
He'll be coming on this weekend. This weekend he comes. He's on the second of the two episodes on Saturday. But let me go through and do this because there are some folks that are sticking around for the memento, and it's now 8:30, and some of them are probably wanting to go to bed. So the password for the memento, why don't we all tell everybody on the count of three, where does Gil have a sandwich shop?
In Salisbury.
And what kind of noun is Salisbury?
Proper noun.
Proper noun.
I had a question for both
So
Mike
that
and
means
Valerie. if it's
capital
okay.
for people who don't understand why we're saying.
Just
I love
capital
you,
S.
Mary. You're great.
Everybody knows what a proper noun means.
That's
so
a good one, John. That was a good password.
Could you repeat
So
that one?
proper now.
My internet just went out for a second.
I had a
Hey,
question for
Zachary, I'm
both
sorry
Mike
for
and.
everyone.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Zach.
Oh, I just had a question for both Mike and Valerie, if that's okay.
Always. I'm left out. I'm feel very, very disappointed, but go ahead.
Man, okay, now I feel bad. Well, for everybody, I'm sorry. Okay, what was your favorite episode to be a part of in Gilmore Girls? Maybe possibly without giving us spoilers. If not, just tell us which one it was. And then also, what was your other favorite project to work on? And Valerie, why is it Dragon Ball?
Dragon Ball definitely wasn't my favorite to work on. But what do you mean?
Sorry,
Why was
I
it
just-
Dragon Ball?
Oh no, just I like the movie and I like the work you did. So
Random fact about Dragon Ball: Brenda was the assistant costume designer on it. I actually helped her get on that project because she loved speaking Spanish. My favorite of all the episodes, this was high up there, and then of course a lot of the Life and Death Brigade stuff. The one in particular, which we won't talk about because I don't think John's seen it yet, right?
Yeah, not at all.
Correct.
No,
Correct.
It's in the
And then-
future.
That was
And
going to
then
be
the
one of my
dance.
questions.
The
Right.
dance was as well. And then as far as projects that I've worked on, that was my favorite to work on. It's a toss-up between Stars Born because we just had so much fun on set. The clothing wasn't fabulous or interesting from my standpoint, but Jersey Boys was probably the best. The clothing was just so cool and interesting and fun in so many different periods. But yeah, that's my answer. What about you, Mike?
I love this episode, and I hate to say that I don't know the order of the shows, except I know when you guys are talking about Scott's show, that if they're on episode 7, that means next week is the first time Andrew appears in the show. I was in episode 8 of Love and War and Snow was my first episode, which was fun, but that was another all-night thing, and that was the first, like, I didn't know how it went there, so we walked out of the town meeting and went out, and that walking down right past Luke's, I think we did 28 takes, and I thought, well, they do things a little differently here. So but this episode was, I liked this episode best, so I love how great all the storylines come together, and like the first time I watched them, I was like rooting for Lorelai. Do not move! You're gonna ruin the thing. Don't move. I know the picture went up, but don't. And so I was most emotionally invested in this episode. And I don't know, the part I was apologized for, I don't know which order the shows come in, so I don't know if you've seen the dance episode, but I really enjoyed that one also. If you've seen it or not, I'm not giving
We have
Yeah.
Vincent. Yes, we have.
Yeah,
The dance marathon.
We've seen the dance marathon.
Have we seen the USO one?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
No.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
No.
okay. You should invite Mike back for the USO one because he has a funny story to tell about that.
I'd love that.
But back anytime, but my story partly goes with the dance episode about the costume.
Oh, for some
The
reason I thought
dance
it was
marathon?
the other thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that makes sense.
Is that what
Then
you're
you
talking?
can tell it because they saw the dance marathon.
Yes, please.
If you saw they shoot Gilmore's, don't they? Then that's where. But the reason I'm dressed like that is because Amy threw a 1940s party, and so I went to a costume shop and rented a 40s war uniform, and she liked it, and they said, well, have him wear that to the dance marathon. And so Brenda or Valerie, someone asked me where I got it or can I bring my clothes from home, and I said I didn't I don't own that. I'm not cool and retro. I wear jeans and a button-down shirt, now a polo shirt. Like there's neither Andrew nor I, and I hate to separate the two, are cool. So I don't own a cool retro thing. So I just said it was a 1940s war outfit, and they got me a complete wool costume, which is great, except we filmed at a high school deep in the valley, and I almost passed out. Like they had to basically drag me to one of those giant stands to keep me from fainting because I was sweating so much that when I took off my costume, my shirt was drenched, like I jumped in a pool. And all that because I wore that to Amy's party. And then Amy and Dan had I call him Dan, I know his name's really Daniel, had basically a swing wedding, like a swing era wedding. So I rented the costume again, not the same costume, but a costume. So I wore that twice in life. And then the third time was on, they shoot Gilmore's, don't they? So that's my my antics caused me to almost faint in the show, but I was happy to be wherever I was.
Mike, I have a
Valerie?
quick question. Oh, sorry.
Oh, so Mike, is there, or Valerie, like, is there any like stories, like, because in the dance marathon, for instance, you know, where like Rory's like, well, I wanted to show Dean when Andrew like breaks up with his girlfriend in 15 minutes, you know, and like it seems like Andrew has a hard time with like keeping a girlfriend.
I mean, after that gestation comment, I mean, I'm not surprised.
I feel like this is sort of a cheat. I'm stealing from a famous interview off 60 Minutes, but is there a question in there somewhere? But
yeah.
No.
Was there like a story behind that, like for the script, or was that just the script?
That was just a script. I don't think it was meant to be. I think that
Andrew and Mike are not the same person, but Amy
And then
would probably pull from reality of things that might have happened. But you've been
No,
dating
I'm not-
me for a long time, so that wouldn't have had to do with your
Yeah,
private
but-
life.
right.
I'm not saying about Mike exactly. I just didn't know if she pulled like from other like experience, you know, or whatever, if she knew somebody or,
No,
you know.
none of those are from real life. But I mean, I've known Amy since we were writers on Roseanne together. So
What?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Oh, Michael, I recognized your name when I first watched Gilmore Girls for a reason. Let me be quiet. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Did you not?
Pretty cool, right?
It literally says it in his bio.
Yeah, that's where I met Amy as a writer on the show. So I worked on Roseanne with her, and then I worked on one of her pilots, and then I worked on a different show that was on shortly and then got canceled. Then I worked on another show with her. Then we worked on Veronica's Closet together, season 2. That was a show that was created by David Crane and Marta Kaufman after Friends. So it was a show with Kirstie Alley that was, anyway, on the second season, Amy and I worked on the show. And then her next show was Gilmore Girls, but I wasn't a writer on that show. And one day they called me. I know Helen, we also work together. Helen Pye is the real life Dave Rogelski's wife. We, one day they called me and they said, can you stand in the snow all night and say, thanks, Luke? And I said, or she might have just said, say, thanks, Luke. And I said, thanks, Luke. Great. Do you want to stand in the snow all night and be in the show this week? And I went, sure. And that's the beginning of Andrew, was just standing in the snow in that episode. And so
glad you said yes.
Well, I wasn't going to say no to anything Amy asked me to do because I've known her for so long that she went, come be Andrew. And I went, okay, whatever you want. And that was Andrew. And I guess 20 times on the show later, that's the legacy of Andrew.
So
I
then,
love it.
so Andrew owned the bookstore, the Stars Hollow bookstore.
Yes, but the other part, it's the most. I know they make very literate references, but there's a bookstore, and then there's a black, white, and red bookstore, and then there's the
Stars Hollow books.
Stars, yeah, I own Stars Hollow books, but there's another bookstore where Kirk shows his movies.
Black, white, and read.
Yes, and then there's a whole huge magazine shop that
Milo has.
Not Milo. Oh, is that Milo?
Milo has one in New York or something.
Yeah. Yeah, a stand.
So there's an incredible amount of reading material in that town.
Yeah.
That's why they talk in a very
They don't shut
high
up.
level way. Yeah, they're always reading.
So,
Yeah.
Mike, I have to ask a question that's being requested. Sabrina had to leave. She wanted to know if, when you went to the hot yoga class with Amy, if she wore her hat.
I don't.
That's a good question.
That's the greatest question I've ever heard. That's
She would not have. She didn't wear her hat all the time. It was only when she was trying to intimidate producers.
Yeah, I rarely saw her with the hat on outside of like actual events. Like on set, she just. I mean, usually when she was on set, I feel like she was directing the episode, because otherwise she would just walk over occasionally. She was usually in the office.
You know, I just was going in my computer and I found my notes from this episode. It was just my cross plot. It wasn't the actual scene, the character change notes. And it has a breakdown of where people were wearing the hard costume or the soft costume. And so it's kind of interesting to see, like, Jesus, Kirk, he had a couple different costumes. The town troubadour had a soft and a hard costume, and so did Alexis. So it's kind of interesting to see that.
Valerie, what are you working on now?
Well, right now I am off. I'm working on my book. I'm trying to do the second edition of my ice cream book, and you can catch me on TikTok. That's what I've been doing pretty much every day, is posting videos over there. And
I
some
love
Gilmore
your
Girls
videos.
people found me. Yeah, like yesterday, it was so random. Somebody tagged me in something, so I responded with a stitch to some Gilmore Girly girl fan, and then like overnight, literally like 300 people followed, or maybe it might have even been more. I think it was like 300 people followed me overnight. It was pretty crazy. We'll see how many I have today, but so if you want to follow me there, I'm drawing arts and ice cream stuff and telling stories, and they're not necessarily Gilmore stories, but there's a few here and there that I might tell. So follow me on TikTok at Valerie's Cat Ice Cream.
I'm gonna plug your ice cream cookbook here, Valerie, because Valerie recently did a live signing for me, which was awesome. And Valerie does so much care and love into packaging up the cookbooks and sending them off. It's like really, really nice touches and detail. And if you don't have one, you should be getting one.
Aw,
Yes.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
We bought an ice cream maker just to be able to make your ice cream and
Aw.
now.
Well, I have 45 left, and on Friday on TikTok at 1 o'clock, I'm signing one for Gilmore fans, and then tomorrow I'm going live on TikTok at 3 to sign a book, but just for a regular human being, not a Gilmore Girl fan.
Where can we get them? Get the cookbook?
If you get to any of my profiles on like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, just click the link in my bio, and it will go to Valerie's Cat, like kitty cat, I like eyeball, scream like you're screaming for your life.com. And then there's a store on that page. So it's the only way to get my book, either that or see me in person. But I have 45 left, so if you guys all buy it on the same day and I run out, you'll have to wait for the second book. I'm so sorry. But I'll sign, I'm signing all of the books that I'm writing that I have left, very personal for everyone that I have. But the next book, I'm not going to be able to do crazy personalization for everyone. So if you want something fun, get this one now.
I know I'm friends with Facebook, Valerie, so, and John.
So
yeah, send me a message.
Hey folks, I'm actually making everyone moderators. I'm going to be jumping now. Thank you so much, Mike, Valerie, for joining us. Mike, you should absolutely join us again for the USO episode, or any episode that you want to pop in for. If you're really truly like, if you're really interested in watching the show and like lurking, don't lurk. Let me know, and I'll bring you up onto the couch with me from the get go.
You're very nice, and I'm glad to be here. But I'm also happy to lurk and listen to whatever it says about the show. And, I don't have any more insight on that. I'm not in, so I'm happy just to hear what people think.
You can just debate the characters with us, Mike. You don't have to have insight. You can just debate with us.
Yeah. I mean, we're really totally treating this not really, this tonight's, obviously, like, folks have a lot of questions for all of you, but for the most part, this project is really casual, and it's mostly just a bunch of folks who love this show getting together, watching it, and then geeking out over it, debating, motives of characters and just sort of dissecting story, which is, I think it's just what makes our project so special. And so you don't really need to have been in an episode in order to join us in that. But again, I also understand wanting to just lurk. There are plenty of people who come every night. I'm not looking at you, Sheev, who like to just lurk, and then occasionally jump up onto the couch after I've left. By the way, I do know about this, Sheev. And
I'm telling you, we need a memento for it. It must be a memento.
Yeah, there will be a Sheev memento at some point.
Oh, John, we'll have to circle back to the band another.
Yeah, we lost time on this. I think that this episode just has too much in it. It's the reason why it's such an awesome episode. But like, let's go. Right, we got Festival of Living Art. We've got Suki about to have a baby, and all the quirky characters that were introduced for that storyline. We've got in the Festival of Living Art, you've got two storylines happening. Lorelai's whole thing with her fear and of messing up, and the whole Kirk thing. You've got Nicole coming in. You've got the band getting a new guitar. I mean, it's just like how they packed all of that into one episode is just absolutely crazy to me, and amazing, because all of it was exciting and fun, and I just loved it. And just like I said, I'm not going to take it back. And I can't imagine another episode beating it out. This is my favorite episode so far.
That's why season 4 is my favorite episode to watch. Favorite season to watch.
John, during the hiatus, do you want to set up a time where we just discuss this episode, I guess?
Yes.
Sure,
let's do it.
We should do that.
Yeah, we can do that. I need to figure out what's going on with the app right now, because the app
Quick note, there's only one memento left.
Is there? Oh,
you
yeah.
should get it done.
There's only, that might not be the case. I have, no, actually, I'm sure that's,
I just claimed mine.
Something going on there with Mint. There's a few, I think at least 2 people who
I don't know how to get on to it.
There are at least 2 people that got the memento twice, which means that they got the memento twice and they got the same number. So that means the ledger actually created 2 with the same number. So I need to look at that and figure out what's going on. But my gut tells me that we're probably within we're definitely under 10 before it's, before they're all gone for sure. We may actually be at 1 more before they're all gone, but I have to take a look at it again. There's something going on with the app. It's super duper slow. Trying to for example, on people's profile page, is your username showing there at the top, or does it just have an @ symbol and then
No, it disappeared for me completely.
Wait, one at a time. What? Who?
It's just the ad. It's just the ad with a couple things.
Mine is not. It's showing perfectly fine.
Mine's fine.
Mine's gone. It's just at a bunch of random characters.
It's so popular, we broke it.
And then, because I got to take a look and see what it is, because the chat was not coming up for me, and it looks like the app.
But don't worry.
We'll be traveling.
Yeah, John, on my I was gonna say
Wait.
my profile, my name is not there, but if I look where I sign in on the upper left,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
go to
yeah,
the home screen,
yeah, I know.
it is there.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
It's there for me as well. It's just that one at symbol, and then just everything was really slow loading. Like it would take like sometimes like over a minute for everything to like come in. Were others experiencing that as well?
Right
Yeah.
now,
Yes.
I just went over to the app. I'm missing my town square button.
Yeah, I know that, like things like that, where like town square. It's not that you're missing it; it's that your app has not pulled in all the data, and so it needs to pull in all the data in order for it to know that you have the town square button. You know, because only folks with the OT memento have the town square button. So it's like it's all about the data that the app is bringing in, and it's for whatever reason bringing in that data real slow. And it seems like it's not even bringing in some of the data. So I have to look and see what's going on. If that's like it's possible that just like everybody on it at the same time was just too much for it. I really don't know.
Can I get the app on the Google Play, because I can't find it on the website. I can't find out about it.
It's not on Google Play. You just go to remarcus.com, and then you don't really install it. You add it as a bookmark to your home screen, the way that you would add like a web page bookmark to your home screen, and then it forms like an app henceforth.
Okay.
Hey,
So that's
John, really quick.
Yeah.
I know that they were talking about having an open discussion about this episode another time. May I suggest you do it like on a weekend, and maybe you're able to get Brenda and Melanie to pop in, since they weren't able to join for the rewatch.
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I'll take a look at that.
And then also one thing, I just wanted to let you know that there is someone in the clubhouse right now, first-time clubhouse person watching, who's a friend of mine. He's a Gilmore fan, and he's watching from Antarctica.
Oh, wow.
Is it Mark?
That's
Wow.
awesome.
I'm guessing Mark.
His name is Mark Driscoll, and he's down in the far, far, far bottom
Wow.
of the couch, or at least he was there. He
Well,
might
hello,
have,
Mark.
He said he would
Mark.
like to speak.
I see him.
Mark, come on up. He's coming up. I'm bringing him up. Mark, come on up. For whatever reason, I'm trying to get you to come up, but it's not.
He's up.
Maybe he has to leave and come back.
I just allowed him to come up.
Oh, he's.
Me too.
There he is. Wait,
Yeah,
there he is.
There we go.
Hey, Mark, where are you? What state? Where are you in Antarctica?
What state?
At what state? What station? I was going to say what station. Like, are you at the Russian station? Are you at the
U.S. station McMurdo? So, and we're partnered with Scott Base from New Zealand right here. So, I'm down here for the austral winter as a firefighter, and I found it interesting that you said that Lane got paid more money for getting wet, because I wish I could get that gig.
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know if she did. I would love to ask her that question. I just know that that there is a SAG rule. There's a variety of SAG penalties or fees that you have to pay an actor more for doing certain things, like smoking. Getting wet is one of them, but I don't really know. I'm not completely sure whether whether just dunking your head under a faucet would qualify, or if it means like you have to like go completely underwater in water, like a pool scene or whatnot. So I don't really know for sure. I just know that that's at least that was a rule 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, back when I was active. But may not be a rule anymore. Hard to say. Like the union has gotten considerably weaker since then.
Dang. It was fascinating to me either way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
Oh no, I was gonna just say that I'm gonna be jumping off. We should try and find time to talk about this episode in a future, perhaps a hiatus week, and we can actually get into some of the nitty gritty of the plot, which is what we usually do, by the way, Valerie. We typically like kind of dissect the characters and what happened and whatnot. But this was sort of a special episode, and like I said, it just has so much in it. I don't even think we would have been able to get through all of it if we had just only talked about what was going on there.
Hey, John.
Yes.
I just wanted to know, is it cool if we give a shout out to the people who have their profile pictures as paintings for the special episode?
Oh yeah.
Honestly, bravo. I love it, y'all.
Yes.
Brava. Very
And
good.
check Regina's updated avatar, John. You'll like it.
Mine is called
Regina Gill in the house.
Yup.
That's kind of freaking me out. And then eventually it's just gonna start. There's just gonna be Regina's all over the photo, like in the window, like looking in at everybody in the window. So,
Don't give
Hey,
me
John.
ideas, John.
Maybe we can revisit this episode on a weekend morning, like some point, instead of doing 2 of the same season, do like a special of this one so the internationals can join in and maybe
yeah,
discuss it.
perhaps. Just as an FYI, I have to double check with him to make sure that he's cool with the 9:30 time that the episode is currently scheduled for. Todd, because when I was texting him, he was like, yeah, like, are you? Is that really like that early though? And I was like,
He's not a morning person.
I was like, well,
Good luck.
I said if need be, I was like, if need be, I can finesse it a bit, you know. And he was like, well, yeah, let me know. I mean, I guess I could just be like, no, that's what it is. You got to wake up, buddy. But I don't know. I'm gonna float it past him. There is a possibility that you'll notice that you'll see in the calendar that it's like 10 or 10:30 or something like that, which means that we could, if I did it at 10:30 instead of 9:30, just it would shift our day like by an hour, our full day by an hour. But we could squeeze that in there. We could squeeze it from like 9:30 to 10:30, a little discussion on that episode. I'd be happy to stick around for that.
Valerie.
We also have Thursday night off too, don't we?
Yeah, but I'm gonna actually do that as a real taking the night off, because that's Canada Day, so our Canadian friends are really going to be taking that night off.
And I
No, that's not Canada Day. That's actually not. Sorry, that's the first. So,
No, that's
the
pre-tailgate day.
That's
getting ready.
But can
That's
I
the
have plans?
But I'm gonna,
Yeah,
but I'm gonna. That was another one. That's another one that I'm gonna also take off, just because people have already made plans and whatnot. You know, one thing that I've noticed is that now, like, I feel like, at least in the U.S., because so much is reopening, you know, there are a lot of folks that are like kind of struggling to like find time to do this and also go out. So that would be an example of a night that I would imagine folks who are like regular Remarcus have taken that night. And if I like was like, oh, we're gonna do something, that probably I would sense some folks would be disappointed.
I'm staying in.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
But ironically, in Quebec,
Hey,
it's actually Fête Nationale, so it is a holiday.
Oh, well, okay, there you go.
I'm
all right,
gonna
folks.
take off, guys. We'll see you later. Bye, Mike.
Yeah,
Bye, John.
bye, Valerie.
Thank you very much for coming, Valerie.
Thanks so much, Valerie.
By the way, guys, I'm gonna take a look at the app and see what's going on there. It looks like
Great to
all of them
see
have
you.
been claimed, but I'll take a look at it again. Also, just so you know, just because they've been claimed doesn't mean that, or sorry, just because they've been minted doesn't mean that you can't get one, because there is a mechanic that if it's been minted but not claimed, in 24 hours it will be up and people can get it. In fact, there are 2 original townies that have yet to be claimed that are up for grabs if somebody who hasn't gotten it already wants to grab it and knows the password. All right, I'm off. Thanks so much, everyone. It was awesome.
Mike.
Thank you, John.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, John. Mike, before you go.
I'm still here, and I'm going to jump off after this question, probably. So.
Okay, perfect. Because I have a question for you, Mike.
Buckled up.
Okay, so since you were one of the writers of Roseanne, like, I will admit, I really looked up to Roseanne. That is like one of the funniest shows that I saw, especially like when I was going from watching cartoons as a kid to live action television. That was like top tier, and honestly was the series that prepared me to watch Gilmore Girls. But I just wanted to know, as a fellow screenwriter, is it cool if I like, you know, hit you up through the social medias follow you, say hey, hi, hello. I just wanted to know if I got permission for that, because I know you were on Gilmore Girls and you have written on Roseanne. So at this point, like, I see you as fame and high royalty, because you wrote on Roseanne and you were on Gilmore Girls. So like, for me, that's top tier. So I'm just asking permission.
Let me say this, that maybe I should hire you as my publicist, because you seem to have a higher thought of me than I have of myself. I don't really have Facebook. I limit, but Instagram, I don't even. People only have to request to friend me. Like, I know there's that, like, request thing. Anyone can follow me on Instagram, and that's the one I use the most. I have a Twitter account that says I hardly ever tweet, and yet I wish I tweeted less. So I don't really tweet. I just like Instagram is my favorite social media. And I'm flattered, but I'm not that distant and aloof as I might seem, I hope. Yes, welcome to follow me and hit me up on that, and whatever the kids say now, and I'm the wrong person to say kids, shout outs. Is that a word they say?
Yeah, we do. So,
yeah. But thank you. Now I feel like it's rude to leave if anyone has a question.
Oh,
No, you leave if you
You
want.
can go anytime you want.
Go ahead. Don't say
Yeah, it's
anything. We just
understandable.
disappear.
We would love it if you want. We would love it if you wanted to hang around, but we totally understand if you gotta go. It's cool.
Well, I do have to leave soon because it's just the way I'm an old man. But
Yeah.
it's amazing to me. It's amazing to me but there's a group this big right here. Even like I always think about that how amazing it is. And I know that the show is moderately popular, but I know it's a small part of the show, and I was recognized I think twice the entire time the show ran the first time, and then once Netflix happened, like I don't get recognized that often. That's not my barometer of things, but like my wife and I were in Penn Station once and got recognized. I got recognized, and I had a backpack on my back. And we were about to get on a train from New York to DC, and someone recognized me. And I went, I'm not sure I recognize me from the show. Like, how are people so watching this that closely? Because the reason I say that is one time I was on one episode I was on, the very next day I went to a friend's house and we were working on a project, and he said something that he and his wife had watched the Gilmore Girls. And I said, "Oh, did you watch it last night?" He said, "Yeah." And I was like, okay. I was on the episode last night, and he went, "Oh, didn't see it, missed it." And I went, "Well, that's about right.
Boy.
I didn't have that big a part." So that's always how I think of it. Like, you watch the show, you didn't notice Andrew was on, and then the next thing you know, I'm being recognized at Penn Station in a crowd of people, and I'm wearing a backpack, and my hair certainly doesn't look like it did anymore. It does in that what you saw tonight. That was where'd I get that hair? I used to think that was my hair was falling out then. Now, I wish I had hair like that now.
Well, sometimes the fans of the show that give it rewatches each year, they just really love the townspeople and the characters who aren't on as much. So you're a little more recognizable to those people than maybe somebody who just kind of watches it randomly.
Yeah, it's true. And it was funny because I remember talking to him quite often, and he was in other episodes. I thought was one of the apostles, the one wearing glasses. His character's name was Joe. I remember talking to him off camera all the time, and I thought I talked to him in other episodes, and yet I didn't see him unless I'm putting all this.
The
together.
Troubadour?
No, that's
the
Grant.
one.
The guy with an afro?
Yes, exactly right. He has
curly.
Oh yeah.
Grant is wearing glasses, true, but there's another guy. His character's name is Joe. I don't know what his now. I forgot.
Isn't he the pizza delivery guy?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, he is. And it was a different episode where I think Kirk and he had to practice saying things like they had a big to do about saying the word over. I might be giving away something from a future episode, but they had a.
Yeah.
Oh, we can. It's a spoiler time. You can say anything you want.
It's the
now.
one about the Easter eggs, I think.
Yeah, it might have been the one you watched a couple days ago, because I was in one of the ones you watched just a couple days ago also. Now I've forgotten the title, but one of them, I can't figure it out. But when I saw the titles, on Netflix to get to tonight's episode, I saw one that I'd been in earlier this season. But yeah, no, the fans, I'm really appreciative of everyone, and of course, if you want to look at my, I think I say it's whimsy and whatnot on Instagram. It's just I'm just goofing around there, and but that's just enjoying life, and thank you to all of you, really.
And you're going to be in Kent, right, Mike?
I missed what you said.
You're going to be in Kent.
I might be. I went to the first two. Wait, that's 16 and 17. Didn't go 18. Didn't go 19. There wasn't one in 20. I might go to this year. I'm not sure. It depends on what my wife and I are doing, and also, well, that's the whole thing of what the story is. What's happening, because that was really fun. In fact, whether I'm there or not, I will tell one story about this. The last one I went to, so 2017. Sam Tancake was at that one. He's a really good friend of Lauren's, and he, I don't know. You don't have to raise your hand. I couldn't tell if you raised your hand anyway. He got Lauren on like a FaceTime, and she talked to the crowd that night from through a phone to the audience at the 2017 Fan Fest. So at the end of the show, we were signing autographs, meeting people, and a woman had a poster, and I signed it, and I don't know why, I usually don't flail around, but I went to hand the pen back to someone else, and I flailed with my right arm, and I don't think it was the woman with the poster, but I smacked one woman right in the face, and I have not felt anything but ashamed, and we're getting close to 4 years. So if you see a woman who says, Mike Gandolfi smacked me in the face, it was an accident, and I still feel bad about it. That's all you know about that.
Yeah, I was at that Fan Fest. That was really cool.
Yeah, but it was fun, and yeah, when Lauren was on that on the FaceTime, it was really amazing. It was fun to see and to hear the sheer screaming that just the sound everyone made. They couldn't believe Lauren was showing up on the screen for the thing was amazing. So that was really fun.
I have a video.
You should go again if you can. You should go again, Mike, if you're able to go.
Yes, I love it. The odd part for me is I think the second year I did a candy festival or a candy contest, and I was like, this is fine. I'm not upset about it, but I really just wanted to talk to every single person. I'd rather just speak to all the fans than do any event or they do I think Liz did a dance recital in one room, and someone else did, they do different things. And Stan Zimmerman does his a play, usually the Coffee Monologues it's called. Someone can confirm that. I think it's called the Coffee Monologues.
Yeah.
Different parts of the shows, and I know Eris was one of the people, and a couple other actors from the show read out. I'm not making any sense about that. Where I just want to walk in and say hi to everyone and shake hands, and if they want an autograph or a picture, I'm happy to do that. That's the fun for me, really, because my stories need endings. I realize as I say them out loud, but that's the
It's okay, Mike, because I feel way, way, way more comfortable with you because you're a funny guy, and when you tell stories, you feel like they have no ending, and that is the same thing that happens with me when I tell stories.
Yeah, that happens to many of us. So you're like one of us. Just stay forever.
Especially because it's really late on the East Coast. I feel like I'm always that way.
And people get tired of me telling my stories, and then they interrupt me, and I never get to finish anyway. So
Mike, if you ever wanted to come back and just watch an episode with us, you could just lurk, or you could come in and dissect characters and stuff. And that's what John was talking about. You don't have to be in an episode to join us, because we just enjoy discussing the show with anybody who wants to talk to.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I came to one of them, but maybe it wasn't one of this. It was a different thing that he was talking to the real Dave Bergel Rogalski, who's a friend of mine, and so I went to that and lurked, and I think it came to another episode. I looked in one episode because I wanted to know what was going to happen for tonight's episodes because I like to be prepared. But it is great fun, and I'll come and lurk or jump in every once in a while. In fact, speaking of the guilt, that's what that was the part I felt bad. There were like, you know, the 15 speakers that are, or whatever you call the couch, and one said, "I'll leave the couch so Mike can join," and I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to take your spot.
Yeah.
But, now,
We do, and we swap with people all the time if they're not here regularly, or you know.
But I enjoy. I hate to take someone's couch spot. It seems rude.
Like, that was me.
After the episode, the couch opens up and everybody gets to come up anyway. So
Yeah,
it's not a big deal.
We always have so unlimited post-show talk. So.
All right.
Well, and
But yeah, we feel you.
The event.
If you really, if you really want to get in on it, you should get a Remarcus profile.
I got it today, but then everything he was talking about, I felt like the app was not working for me because I was also watching the show at the same time, so I was like, I didn't sign up, but I have the app now, so I got to go do the bio and a name and all that.
Yeah, once he fixes it, because clearly we broke it tonight. Once he fixes it, which he will, get a profile, and then you can get in on the discussions, like the episode discussions, and you can get mementos just like all of us. You become a Remarcus just like one of us.
I'm halfway there. I've signed up, but not finished the sign up process. You know, like I even got, because I got my code sent to me and I put that in, but I still haven't. I didn't give myself a screen name and a bio and all that stuff. And so I don't know the percentage. I like to get my math right, but let's say I'm whatever 40 to 60% there.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah, so you don't have to. But you can see the schedule of events in there too. And that Dave Rogalski one that you listened in on, that was one of our hiatus events that Nikki had put together. So yeah, that was cool. So you could host an event if you really wanted to during the hiatus once you set up.
The problem is I think I've told all my stories. There's the fainting at the dance episode, and there's all the to do about having to do the depilatory for this episode, and after that I'm out of stories. So I just you know, but I will drop by and I said watch, like I can watch Clubhouse. I should learn how things work. I will listen and enjoy and be around. But I really think that my stories have I've kind of maxed out on those, and I feel bad that that anyways, if you were at the Fan Fest, you heard that the Nair story before, and I'm sorry about that. So
it's okay. It's time to create new stories now.
Yeah, I got to get some new stories. I got to apologize to the woman I smacked in the face, and anyone's heard the Nair story more than once.
I'd never heard it before, so I really enjoyed that. Thank you.
Well, my pain is for just for you guys, so I'm glad to do it.
Thanks for joining us. I hope you do come back.
I shall, and I'm gonna do the leave quietly, but I'm gonna be very loud before I leave and say, great to internet see all of you, and all of you be well.
You too. Thanks.
You too, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming by. And I followed you on the socials.